What's new in Ancestral Sources version 7.7? So there's several new features and a number of problems fixed. This video will look at a few of the new features, but for the full list of changes, Google Ancestral Sources version history or visit the URL that's shown there. So first, the new tree view. If you select an individual on the right hand side of the screen, or you search and find them, and if they have children recorded, then you get now this tree button, and you can click that to display a descendant tree for the individual. And so we can see Arthur's children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, etc. And you can expand that down as far as you wish. Males are shown in blue, females in red. And if you click on any of those individuals, they become selected on the right-hand side of the screen, so you can then add them to your entry as you would normally. And you can hide the tree, and you can show the tree again. And you'll see the tree takes up all of the left-hand panel on the screen. And you can right-click on a node, and then you can access the change name, add parent, add spouse, etc. to add them to that particular individual. Up on the Tools menu and Options, there's a new option here, which is the tree view occupies the entire left-hand panel, but there are options to have it just occupy the top left or the bottom left. So if I choose the bottom left panel and click OK, then now when I select an individual and view their tree, it only appears down here at the bottom of the screen. And again, that can be resized and it can be hidden, or we can click the tree button to bring it back. If we are in census mode, this becomes even more useful. Once we select a census year and we choose an individual and we view their tree, you'll see we now have these checkboxes available to us. So if we wanted to, we could add Anthony just by clicking the checkbox there, and his daughter Judy, and we could select Ian, and then when we've selected Ian, because he has a spouse recorded, we can click this spouse button here, and we can then choose Charlotte as well. And if he had more than one wife, they would have been listed too. We can add Sally, we can add Nigel as well. We could add one of Nigel's children too. And once we've finished selecting all the people who are in this census entry, click Add Chosen, and they'll all appear in the census grid there. If we click back on Anthony Edward Munro and look at his tree, the people that are already added to the entry are highlighted now. So if we had some more people to add to the entry, we could tick those and again click Add Chosen, and they would also be added to the entry too. Now let's take a look at the new pasting images feature. In previous versions, you've been able to go to Add View Images and then click Select File to load in a file that you've already saved. There is now a new Paste Image feature. So if, for example, you found a census entry here on Find My Past and you want to right-click, copy the image, you can now go into Ancestral Sources and the Add View Images, and you can then paste the image in instead and then save it as you would normally. In this version, 2 death auto text templates have been updated using the new SN original keyword. Let's have a look at how that works. When recording death entries, an option that's always been on by default in Ancestral Sources is this one, which says use last married name for deceased female. What that means is that when we select somebody like Julia Coughlin here, it automatically puts in her name and surname as Julia Jane Addison because she was married to John Addison. The problem is that for a couple of the auto text templates that are built into Ancestral Sources, the 1969 to 2007 and 2007 onwards England Wales death certificates, they have maiden surname of woman who has married, and so in previous versions of Ancestral Sources it wasn't possible to have it display the woman's maiden name here, but now there is an option to be able to do that. There's a new auto text template field which can do that, and I've updated the two auto text templates that I mentioned so that they use that. For those of you who are confident with editing auto text templates, you can see here that in the keyword list now there is for any individual there is a SN original and SN original caps keyword which can be used, which will always put in the original name of the person and ignore any options in Ancestral Sources to change that to a married name. And finally, we'll have a look at the new support for bookmarked repositories. In Family Historian, if you click to select a repository, then you can see the list of repositories to choose from, and that list can become very long. So there is a feature in Family Historian where you can right-click on a repository and choose the Add to Bookmarks link. And so once you've created that list of your most used or your favourite repositories, you can then use this red button at the top, and it reduces the list to just show the bookmarked repositories. Well, now Ancestral Sources can use that, and so when you go into link a repository, normally you would see a list of all of the repositories, but now there is this bookmarked checkbox, which if you click on it, it reduces the list to just those that you've chosen within Family Historian as needing to be bookmarked.